G'day, legends. Welcome to the Thursday Sesh. We're back at it again. So, Willie is back. Jared is back. Dan was going to be here, but family stuff. So, hope your family's all right, Dan. But yeah, we'll get on with the pod tonight. How you been, Jared? What have you been up to over the off season?
I started trading futures.
I've seen
Something
you on
random.
Instagram doing all that.
Yeah, that's been interesting and fun. Lost $1,000 today.
So you did the fun thing where it's free, just a trial run, did well, and then you did a proper one and lost proper money, or lost your training one.
No, I practiced and I was doing well, and I bought a prop firm. So I'm doing a challenge at the moment, and if I pass the challenge, I get to play with their money, not mine.
Fair enough. How you going, Willie?
I'm going all right, Jared. Been a hectic week here in New Zealand for me, so hopefully get this pre-season underway for the podcast and get some minute into my legs.
Oh, fair enough. Whatever your legs are going to do with the pod, Willie, I don't know. We'll just bring out some comments here. So, how Paul, thanks for tuning in. Morning, Jerry. G'day, Andrew. And hail, smell the glove. Glad you're all here. Anyone else, when you jump on, get in the comments. Want to make the show as interactive as possible. I'll have a little message to put on the screen for you all. So later on in the show, just that one there. Feel free to abuse Jared, the Lorwell lover, in the comments tonight. Just letting you all know. So if he says something silly, jump in there and let us know. We're going to have a bit of fun tonight. So we'll get straight off the bat into it. So I want to go to you first, Jared. So how do you view the squad at the moment, and just what are your general thoughts about it before we even look at adding any players or anything else? Now, the bloke who's named on the shirt to your left, leave him out of the conversation at the moment because that's our very next topic.
How am I meant to talk about Celtic without talking about Kuhn? All right, I'll give it a shot. Where I think we are right now, I think starting the season, we're in a better position than we were starting last season. And I think our team is currently better than we finished last season as well. Because we haven't lost a lot of players. We replaced Joe Hart and Ben Seacrest with two keepers. The only position that I think we're weaker in is striker, because we don't have a backup striker. But when you look at other positions, you look at Palmer. Palmer finished the season strong, and in pre-season he looks to have fixed a couple of those little annoying things that he wasn't doing last season, like tracking back, defending. He's doing that now. The guy on the other side is doing what he wasn't doing last season. Our midfield looks solid. It's still the best midfield in the country. And then you look at our backs. Like, we've just found two solid third string backs in Donovan and Anderson. Like, I really hope we can keep them. Donovan's already, I think, a good third string behind Ralston. I think he should probably go out on loan and actually get some time against good players instead of playing in the B team, which seems like an absolute waste of space at the moment. And then we've got Anderson. Now, I don't want Anderson to be a backup to Taylor. I think he needs to be third string behind Taylor and someone else. But at the moment, we had no one last year. If we go into the game on the weekend with Taylor and Anderson, it's still better than it was last year. So still some gaps, still things to do, but we've still got time. But I think we're actually in a better position going forward to start the season than we were at the end of last year.
So on that, Jared, I said on Monday's pod that, yeah, Anderson's good for me as a third stringer. So if we bring in someone to challenge Taylor and be starting left back, Taylor goes to the bench and then Anderson's the third stringer. I'm happy with that. But thinking more about it since Monday through to today, I was actually thinking, okay, if we only have those two at the moment, as you mentioned, Taylor and Anderson, the third option at left back is Mitchell Frame. Long story short, I would love to see Frame get a good loan where he's going to play week in, week out. Yes, it's second division in Austria, but that's where Anderson went last year. So if he was to jump along and go do the exact same loan this year, I wouldn't be against that.
Mm.
What's your thoughts, Willie?
No, I have to disagree with you. I think we knew at the end of last season we were in need of reinforcements in several positions. And so for me, the squad's regressed. If Bernardo and Ida are signed by the end of this week or are in the squad for Sunday, as some of the papers are predicting, then I think we will get to the point where we're at the same stage we were at the end of last season. But I don't think there's been any improvement. Well, saying that, I think the goalkeeping situation has been resolved, but outfield, no, there's still issues there. We've had 6 months to prepare for the goalkeeping position, and we've got what we needed to do in there. But overall, I can't really say there's been any improvement in the squad outfield. We're in the position now, and our next two signings will be to keep us to where we were at the same level at the end of last season. So for me, I think the squad's regressed, and I think we're one key Ogo injury away from having a real issue. Domestically, I don't think there's any need to panic, but for us to progress in Europe, which is a key thing for us all this season, if we finished second bottom out of all the teams in the Champions League, points wise, goal difference wise. If we stand still, these other teams around us are going to move forward, and that's not good enough. You know what I mean? We need a left centre back. We need a left back. We need another. We might need another winger. We definitely need another striker. There's 5 positions still there that need strengthening, and some of the talk you hear Brendan Rodgers saying this week, I don't think he's too impressed with the way things have been going this window either. So, for me, we're stagnating.
Yeah, so that was the next thing I was going to touch on before we get into the Kun talk. But yeah, it was going to be with Bernardo doing his medical this week. Ida's pushing for his move, agitate, and doing everything he needs to at Norwich to get up the road. It's one of them ones where I wanted to ask you boys, has our squad progressed? Has it regressed or stayed the same? So, as you just said there, Willie, for me, currently, as the squad is on this day, on Thursday, what is it, the 1st? Thursday, the 1st of August, our squad has regressed from how we finished the end of last season because we're still down. We haven't replaced Ida. We haven't replaced Bernardo. Yes, we've goalkeeper situation hard out, Segrist out, and then Schmeichel and Sinisalo in. So we've improved in the goalkeeper position. The fact that Bain is now our third string keeper again makes me one very happy camper. But the other positions, right back, we're good. As you said, Willie, left centre back we need to address. Scales should be our backup. And we need to get a starting quality left back, which I've touched on earlier. We've all said that as well. And then there's a few other little spots in the squad. Like there's rumours linking us with a bigger defensive midfielder. I would like that. I think Kalmak's best position isn't sitting in the 6. It's playing him as an 8 where he can go box to box. That's where he plays his best when he's playing for Scotland. He's got McTominay alongside him to be that defensive guy, and it frees him up. So, and then under Rodgers the first time, he had Bruni sitting alongside him, which opened him up. So we probably need someone in the 6th position, potentially. And then I think we need, if we bring Ida in, we've got options. We can play Maeda as the 3rd striker. And we've got, but then if we're going to have that as an option, we're going to have to bring in another winger who can play anywhere across the front 3. And that gives us the coverage we need up front. But there's another option for the striker role I want to talk about later in the pod. So I'll just let that sit in the background. But for me at the moment, the squad is weaker. We've regressed. If we sign Ida and Bernardo and get them both in before the weekend, we start the season as we finish the season. Or maybe slightly better because of the goalkeeper. But we haven't made any progress.
Well, yeah, that's because you keep focusing on people coming in. I'm focusing on the players. Like when you look at the way that we played in the preseason, the team was a lot better. Our players have improved. We're starting to play more Brendan ball. And to me, I'm like, okay, we've still got a couple of months to bring the new players in that we need. But as a core, those players are far and away better than at least the first half of last season. And we're actually everyone looks like they're playing as a team. So I think in that way, we are better than we were last year. And the window is still open to bring in those other players. If you ask me, if we go to the end of this transfer window and we don't bring in a single player, then yes, I'll come back. But for me, with the opportunity to bring in those couple of players that we need, where we actually are with the players that we actually have, I think it is better than it was to end last season.
On that, Jared, I see your point, and I said it on Monday. The way we are playing now, in terms of get a full preseason, the guys get further away from the way Ange had them playing. It's our full preseason under Brendan. Get the players up to speed who've come in during the season. Actually, the performances is better. It looks like everyone knows what they're doing and everyone's fitter. So I understand what you're saying there, but specifically looking at the squad, and okay, if we have a couple of injuries, if Kyogo gets hurt, if we have a couple of injuries in midfield, if a massive crazy bid comes in for O'Reilly or Hatade and the board decides to cash in, we're not far off having being scraping the barrel, basically. There's not much depth in the squad. So that's what I'm referring to in terms of where I think we've regressed and currently it's about the squad, like the overall depth. I want 2 players for every position, and then we have backups. And we did that at the end of Monday's pod.
Like, I understand what you're saying, but I don't know how you can say we've regressed. We didn't have those depth player last year. So it's not like we're lost. But like, realistically, because Bernardo's coming back, we're just missing that backup striker, Ida. I know O is gone, so we'll get a third string, some young guy. But say Ida joins, we're pretty much exactly where we are last year with the players, but the players are better. And then we can start getting the depth. So realistic, it's like, okay, well, we are where we were last year, but the players are a bit better. I don't know. I don't see how we can go backwards when we haven't got the depth in, if you know what I mean.
I think what you're looking at is two different benchmarks here. I get what you're saying. If you're benchmarking us against Scottish teams, yeah, we're good enough to beat everything, and we will beat everything in sight this season. We'll walk this league. But if you benchmark us against European teams, and we're standing still, these teams don't stand still. They improve it year in, year out. They will spend the money. The Copenhagens, the teams that are at the same level as us, they will spend money. They will improve. They will say, look, my left back was weak. We were getting caught by balls over the top into the left centre back, into the left back area. And they will go out and they will strengthen that area. We're not doing that. And that's the big concern for me, because we shouldn't be benchmarking ourselves against Scottish teams. We should be benchmarking ourselves against what would have been the pot 4 teams in the Champions League last season, who will still be pot 4 teams this season when the draw comes around. But these are the teams we need to benchmark ourselves against. And if we don't start doing that properly, we're just going to get left behind and next season we'll end up in the Europa League, and that'll be us. We'll be lost in the ethos of the Europa League teams for a good while to come. And I'm afraid we know that the board aren't really stepping up here. The board are sitting there looking at Rangers and then hang on a second here, do we really need to be spending big money? Because they're falling apart, because the board are benchmarking us against Rangers, like, not European teams, like. So for me, if we want to progress as a club, we need to start benchmarking ourselves against European teams, not domestic teams.
This is where everyone's going to hate me. The way I see it is we've got this year in the Champions League, and that is it. And so if we go all in and start spending all this, we spend 10 to 15 million on a few players, that's good. That's what we've spent now. But then we're paying their wages for the next 5 years that are higher. But we don't have Champions League anymore because we aren't automatically getting in if we win. But I think there needs to be a middle ground. We're not going to try and win Champions League. We can spend 50 million. We're not going to get that much better where we're going to be winning Champions League. I think we should be looking at trying to do as good as we can in the Champions League, because we're not going to get any more money, so that next year, if we get into the Europa League, then we should be going to win. I think that's where our target should be, because there's no way in hell we're not spending 100 whatever million. Get as good as we can get, but without blowing out wages, because we don't need that, because we can win domestically. But then I think we should be challenging Europa League to actually win and get to the finals and actually go there.
Well, again, I kind of disagree on that, because if you want to win the Europa League, you have to have a squad that's good enough to compete in the Champions League. That's just the way of it, and we don't have that. We have a team right now that finished of the 30 teams. I think it's 30 teams in the Champions League group stage, 36 teams. We finished 34th overall, so we're nowhere near good enough for Europa League either. So we would probably get out of the group and go out in the last 32 of the Europa League at present. So again, we're not moving forward. We're just stagnating, as I think. Anyway, that's my opinion on it. And we just sort of have to agree to disagree on it, Jared.
Yeah, no, I think we're sort of agreeing and disagreeing in different sections. For me, last year was a start. I think we've ramped up to where Brendan's got his system in place, and now we need the players so we can at least challenge for the first half in the Champions League, win a few games. We're not going to win it, but then actually go into the next season and then get a few more players. So we're kind of building up so we can actually challenge at that level. And we'll have all the money from the Champions League and stuff as well.
So I'm going to bring up some comments here. Robert Gibson, 44-gallon drum of KY Jelly on standby for the Champions League pumping of all time. Big Dom saying it's essential we recruit with Europe in mind, not the Scottish League. Smell the Glove is saying the extra games in the Champions League is really going to stretch the squad this season, plus there's no winter break to refresh. Andrew's saying improve our squad and we can handle qualifiers. That's going towards next season. Robert's saying we get spanked by everyone. Smell the Glove saying that our ex-chairman Ian Bankier is at the bottom here. McLaughlin saying poor Neil Lennon. Oh, I don't know about that. He's had a piss on the field. So, yeah, you can't do a piss in peace
Allegedly.
Anymore.
Allegedly.
Yeah. So the way I'm looking at it is, yeah, B's got this. Yeah, if we play mega defensively in Europe with Eda up front. Yeah, so at the end of the day, we've got some options, but it's just one of them where I'm not – you mentioned about spending multiple millions, Jared. I'm not asking for that. What I'm saying is we've got 70, 80 million sitting there, right? If we sell O'Reilly, it's going to be for a club record. If we sell Hatate, it's going to be for up there as well, around about our sort of fee. So if you get 50 million for both of them, you'd be laughing. Put that on top of it. I'm not expecting us to spend that because it'll throw the wage budget out like you guys have said. What I'm wanting is us to actually have that forward planning that I've spoken about for ages, which we actually have in the goalkeeper position. Have a starter who's European quality. Have a guy behind them, challenging them, nipping at their heels, trying to take that spot from them. So then when that guy gets sold, the guy's already in the house ready to step up into the starting, and then you replace the young guy coming through. That's how I want us as a club to work. That's what we need to do with our TV rights and money we have, the league we play in. We're not going to be able to go out and buy Champions League starting level players. It's not going to happen. So I understand what we're saying recruitment-wise and everything, but realistically, we're currently running at a profit. For the players that we've sold with O going out and everything else, you look at the money that's come in. If we spend what we've spent so far on Sinisalo is 1.2 million. You've got a free transfer for Schmeichel. There's going to be wages, sign on, all that. So I understand that. But then we got 4.3 million, was it for O? Or 4.2 million?
Apparently that wasn't accurate. Apparently what we actually got was a lot less. But I've never actually seen the number. I've just seen that was rumored to what we were going to get. Then he was sold, and then I saw that was no one knows where that number came from.
Yep. And then I'm looking at it going, Bernardo, we're bringing him for 3.5.
Yeah,
so even if we did get 4 million for O, we spent 1.2 on Sinisalo, we spent 3.5 on Bernardo, that's 4.7. Now we finally have spent some money, and all we've done at that point is get our squad back to where we're still a striker down on what we finished the season. So that's where what I was saying early on, Jared. I'm not the actual way we're playing. Yeah, it's better. B's asking a question here. Can Bernardo fill O'Reilly's boots? He has the potential. So that's what we were talking about on Monday's pod as well, about having those guys behind him. Like I see Home as a possible replacement long-term for Hatate if he moves on. What I've seen this preseason, I've been impressed. So
Neil Lennon can fill O'Reilly's boots.
So anyway, we'll move along from this because we could just waffle on for another 20 minutes quite easily. So
I have one more thing I was going to say. It's quick. I don't think we're going to end up selling Matt O'Reilly by this trade deadline. I think we're going to keep him till the next trade because we can then use him for a Champions League, and we know that everyone overpays in the mid-year. So I think we keep him and we sell him in the next window. That's my opinion.
I think it'll be the same with Atade as well, all things considered, because Atade, with his injuries he had last season, his name's not really up there in lights. So if they go into the Champions League, they start, they do well, then they can get their move when, people will pay a premium, but we need to already be forward planning for that as a club. But anyway, on to the main event for the pod. Jared, is Kun the answer on the right wing this season?
Yes. The end.
So
I saw someone, I think someone said before, Forrest will be starting on the right. No. Like, you look at how good Forrest is coming off the bench. Like, when he starts, he's not as good. He's good, but like, I think we definitely need to give Kun a chance. I mean, we've seen what he can do. We've seen, like, I know it was preseason and I know it wasn't against like the strongest Man City team, but I think he's earned himself a chance to like show what he can do. It's going to be different because we went against Man City and now we're going to go up against teams that are playing 10 men on defense, like with one striker. So he's not going to be able to use his speed to beat people on counterattacks. But he fixed what I wanted him to fix in the off season, where he wasn't taking on men. Like, he was like, his crosses are awesome. I think his crosses have got better than last year, but he's actually taken on his player now and beating them, and he's actually being a bit more direct to goal. So he's improved from last year. You'd be stupid to go and spend a bunch of money to replace him when he can possibly do something. Like, get a winger that can play both ways, but like, there's that guy we're looking at who looks decent, but I can't remember his name. The long one begins with B. Can't remember. But he looks good. That's the one. Like, if we can get him, he'd be good. He can play on both sides, but I think he's mainly a left-sided winger. But yeah, like, Kun is good enough, and also he's good enough for the Scottish League. But I think he's going to do even better when we actually do play against European teams, because he's suited to that more. So that's my opinion on Kun.
All right, and now that he's finished, everyone, that's Jared right now. Yeah. Look at it. You freak. For those listening to the podcast version, I put up the South Pack meme of the dad sitting in front of the computer. And while that was up, Jared was stroking Kun's name on his top right next to him. Sometimes it's I forget.
Ectoplasm.
Yeah. So we had a comment here from Stephen Ray. So he's saying Celtic should go for Josh Doig. He left Verona for Sassuolo back in January for €6 million. However, they got relegated. He's Scottish, 22 years old, 6'2", quick and highly rated in the Serie A. He's also followed it up with, if not Doig, Luke Thomas at Leicester's 23 in the last year of his deal. Rogers signed him a few years back. Those are some decent ideas right there. I'd be happy with either of them.
Yeah. Doig, I think in one of the podcasts last year, I said he was my first choice to get in at left back because he also fills the UEFA quota. But he's a good player.
The question is, would he want to come back to Scotland when he's just had a crack in Serie A in Italy? That's the real question. Who knows? But we'll see. So next thing I want to know is, Willie, how frustrated are you becoming as we get closer to the start of the season and haven't really strengthened the squad like we were talking about early on, right? How am I? This is something that we were talking about in our group chats. This is why I'm putting it in there. So I've seen, like, you go on to Twitter, right? And it's like there's certain accounts that just every day they just get angrier and angrier and angrier. Boys view. So it's one of those sort of things where you jump on there and it's just like people are just losing their plot. There's like two things. There's people who are like Big Dom early on in the comments where he said judge the squad at the end of the window. And then there's people like Boys View who are out there just like every day losing it because we haven't signed anyone. oh, that's it, I'm done with the club and stuff like that. So, yeah, I just want to know how's your frustration level? Which one of those two camps are you falling in?
I'm pretty frustrated. I'm not, like I said earlier, I'm not concerned domestically. I think what we've got, we can go at it domestically and quite comfortably take the title back home. But for me, it's making an impression on Europe this season in this new format of the Champions League. And my fingers are thrumming across the table quite impatiently, waiting for news on anything to come in of some sort of improvement in the left side of defence, or another central midfielder, central defensive midfielder, and some backup to O. But yeah, I'm a bit frustrated the fact that we have so much money in the bank. I get it, like, you know what I mean? We might be targeting a left back at Club A. Club A will not sell their left back until they secure a left back to replace him. Kind of like what's happening with Juve at Atalanta and Matt O'Reilly. Like, Juve want Atalanta's top midfielder. Atalanta have pinpointed O'Reilly as a replacement and won't sell their player to Juventus until O'Reilly signs for them. But they're not coming in with a decent offer. And this game of chess will go on and on and on until the window closes. But unfortunately, past windows have left scar tissue that never really heals. And the closer we get to this window closing, the more that old heel is opening up again. Like, you know what I mean? You just get that sort of impression that you hang on a second here, maybe this is going to be another one of these disappointing windows. Like.
Jared, what are you thinking?
I'm not that disappointed yet. I mean, I was watching everyone with when we didn't sign a goalkeeper, like the day the window opened, and like, we've known that Hart's been leaving for 6 months. And I'm like, no one gives a shit that we know that Hart's been leaving, because not everyone goes, oh, Hart's leaving Celtic, we should do something about it. They're busy with their own seasons. So even though we know that like, Hart's leaving in 6 months, it's not like we can go, hey, do you want to come play for us next year? And like, hey, I'm in the middle of a season, we don't know what we're doing yet. So I was very patient with that. We got it done. I think we done really well on the goalkeeper front. The only section that I'm frustrated is striker. Like the fact that we've let it get down to one striker. It sounds like Brendan wanted to bring in Ida and he wanted Rocco Vata as the third young striker, but Rocco was like, nah, I'm out. So we're still looking for the young striker that he wants to be the third string. And hopefully the fact that we don't have another striker in means that Ida is definitely coming, but who knows? I think I would have liked to have heard more people coming in, but I also don't like rumors. I can't stand like when we get rumored with like 20 people and it's like, well, this is all a joke. But as long as we get in a left centre back, a left back, and a striker, and maybe a winger if it's a bonus, then I'll be happy. As long as we're not losing O'Reilly and Hatate.
Yep. So for me, I kind of see both sides of it. I'm like, as I said, we knew that we need a goalkeeper, but I can understand it taking so long, because when everyone knows that you need a player at a certain position and you've got cash, they ask for stupid money. So I'm glad we took our time and we've got that situation sorted. So if we come to the end of the window and we have a starting quality, say Josh Doig comes in at left back, and then we have Taylor backing him up, and then Anderson as the third option, I'll be wrapped with that situation. If we can find a left-sided centre back and get them in, so we're good to go for Europe and they suit everything, I'll be happy with it. At the moment, I feel like too little is going on that we're aware of, but I reckon behind the scenes, there is a lot happening. So the next thing was, who's to blame for the inaction? Well, I think it's a combination of things. So could the inaction be due to a lack of direction from the board, from the coaching staff, from the recruitment team, or a combination of all? For me, I think it's a combination of everything. I would say it would be Brendan saying, I want this sort of player. The recruitment team that is pretty much non-existent, going out there and trying to find someone. They come back to him with names It could be like him going, "Nah, they're not of the quality I want." Then you get the next thing where Lorwell and Brendan speak to different agents that they know, and then it's okay. What players do you know of that could do this for us? Then we go down that path, and then it's like, okay, these two are good enough. Now the recruitment team has to quickly mock up some numbers for them, and then go, this is what we're thinking, and then go from there. So I think it's a combination of everything. Like, I'm not going to put the blame specifically on the coaching staff, the recruitment team. I will blame the board always, because that's just a hobby of being a Celtic fan. As long as Peter Law's at the club, I will abuse the board. I gave him a pass when Andrew was there. But yeah, I just think it's who's to blame for it. What do you reckon, Willie? What's your thoughts?
I think the blame lies firmly at the feet of Nicholson and the recruitment team. We've got this new guy in Lafarbe. It seems to be that he's on a sort of temporary basis. He's on a trial period, which will be this window to see what he can get done. But again, they've had 6 months plus, and knowing that Mark Lowell was leaving, and they could have had the other guy in, trying to implement who he would like to sign, trying to put names forward to Brendan Rodgers to see if they're any good for him or not. But the boy Lafarbe seems to have Lafarve, or whatever his name is, seems to have come in at the very under the cover of darkness, and he seems to be working away in the background with them. Like, so, for me, the blame lies with the recruitment team. I don't think they're doing enough. I don't think Brendan Rodgers is too happy either. Like, looking at the comments, he said that he's been quite cute with his words, but you can tell that there's a little bit of frustration for him. The same as what it is for all of us, really, in the background of what he's saying. Like,
come on, let's see Brendan just, start gnashing his teeth and just getting a little snarky again. Jared, you got anything to add?
Yeah, I don't know who's to blame, but to me, it feels like I'm just going to blame the board, because it feels like everything's delayed because Brendan knows who he wants to get, but we haven't got them yet. And so we can't go after someone else because we haven't been shut down with the people he wants yet, but we're still probably negotiating and going and just like, oh, we don't want to spend that extra 100,000 or whatever. I think the board, if he wants something and it's just a little bit above what we want, just freaking pay it. So I think that might be what's actually holding us up. I don't know. That's the way it seems. It seems like he's got Ida. Ida's still on the board. He maybe not. If we had just paid what they wanted, then we wouldn't be there.
So we've got some comments here. So Edward saying the board should be ashamed as they're quick enough to take your money off you. It's a disgrace. McLaughlin saying my mate Ewan is a Man United fan and he's praying Hannibal signs for Rangers, says he's hopeless. Gaddafi Semtex is saying we need 4 quality players. Big Dom saying Brendan looks relaxed actually. But this is the comment here. B, I think you've won the podcast tonight. Our signings are stuck on the same ship as Sevco Steelers on. That there is the official comment of the episode. So try and beat it. But for me, yeah, I just think it's a whole bit of a shambles, but we'll figure it out. Striker position. All the talk is eye to this, eye to that. Now, I'm just gonna rattle something off to you and see what you think. So, I am currently looking at the stats of a striker from last season, 21-year-old, 39 matches, 10 goals, 1 assist, 2 yellow cards, a Scottish international by the name of Tommy Conway. Apparently, he has 1 year left on his deal at Bristol City. He's moving and Middlesbrough is in for him. And it's a pretty cheap thing. It's like about £4 million from what I've heard. Should we be looking to hijack that move? For me, I think he ticks a lot of boxes, and we do say we want a young striker underneath everyone. Is that something that you guys would be interested in? What do you think, Willie?
I definitely think we should be exploring options, because from what I'm hearing, Norwich are wanting north of 10 million for Ida. So I think this whole Ida move could just rumble on. And if we haven't got anything in the background as a backup, then it could be very costly. So deals like that for Tommy Conway and Bojan Majowski is another one we should be looking at as well. handing out
Did you see
Aberdeen
what
how
happened
much?
in Willie with
What's
Majowski?
that?
There was an offer came in from a team in Spain,
Yeah,
and it was thrown out by Aberdeen because they didn't even get close to the £6 million they want for him.
yeah. They've offered 3, I think. So, but Tommy Conway, I wouldn't have any issues with him coming in if it's £4 million. We've lost our third choice striker for allegedly £4 million. So if we spend $4 million to bring in a young Scottish under 21 international to replace him, then so be it. Like, but that would make sense. Like, and so if it does make sense, then our recruitment team might not just do it. Like,
If it makes sense to us all the way over here, like how can they not at least be making a phone call? What do you think, Jared? Anything to add?
Well, this could be one that they're waiting to find out what happens with Ida. It could be one of those ones that's on the back burner. It's like, well, we'll wait and see what happens with Ida, and if it doesn't go, then go get that kid. Because I don't know if he'd want to come to be the third string behind Kyogo and Ida. He might want to be the second string, and then we get another like young developing guy. This guy seems like he's on his way up, and so coming to us to be third string might be detrimental to his development. But I'm not an expert on whoever this kid is.
I don't really know where he would fit. Would he be a second string as a backup, or would he be third string? All I know is he's got the age profile, he's Scottish, and he's moving, and he's been linked to us in the past. So that's why I brought that up. It pretty much seems to be what the Scottish media would jump on. So there's another comment here from McLaughlin here saying Zan Vipotnik on a free transfer now because Bordeaux's went to pot. That's something I would definitely be looking at as well. Bordeaux's got a pretty good academy and a bunch of good young players. If they're no longer a professional team, we should be having a look down there as well, see if there's anyone we can pick up on the cheap who's good enough for our team. And then we're talking about the strikers, and McLaughlin saying the third striker should be a young and up-and-coming or a veteran striker at the end, like a Vardy maybe, but not actually him. Yeah, I'd agree with that. So what we'll do, changing gears a little bit, is I want to plug a video and podcast that's going to come out sometime in the next week. We're putting together our fearless predictions for the upcoming season. Usually we just do it on the pod and I just ramble on reading what everyone's answers, basically. And I'm like, that's got to be pretty boring for you guys. So what we're doing is I'm getting each of the guys on Celtic Down Under to record a little video going through what their predictions are. And then I'm just going to put all the videos together and we'll release it out on our YouTube channel and as a podcast. So keep an eye out for that. But what we're going to do, just for fun, as a little, advertising for that, is we want to do our end of season top 6, bottom 6 predictions. So I'm going to get the league up now so we can make sure I don't get the teams wrong because I'm a bit out of it still at the moment. And we'll just see. What do we got here? Come on, there it is. So you've got Aberdeen, Celtic, Dundee, Dundee United, Hearts, Hibs, Killie, Motherwell, Rangers, Ross County, St Johnson, and St Mirren. So Willie, what's your top 6 going to be?
top 6 will be us, then the Hands. I have Killie for 3rd, Aberdeen 4th, Hearts 5th, and St Mirren 6th.
So that means your bottom 6. Do you want to do that now, or do you want to just let Jared do his top 6?
It's up to you, Jared. How do you want to do this?
I don't really care.
Go on, Willie, finish it off.
All right, then I've got Dundee in 7th, Hibs in 8th, Motherwell 9th, Ross County 10th, Dundee United 11th, and St Johnson going down.
Jared, what are you thinking?
I have Celtic 1st, Aberdeen 2nd, Hearts 3rd, Rangers 4th, Kilmarnock, and St Mirren is my top 6. Was that 6?
Yeah.
I think so.
And then I will go Dundee, Hibs, Dundee United, Motherwell, St Johnstone, Ross County.
Fair enough. I'm trying to put mine together now.
I will say, I think Rangers will finish closer to third than they will to first.
Yeah, I did this earlier today and I left it at work. So I've got one team left. I'm trying to figure. Oh, there we go. Cool, got it.
I think Hearts and Aberdeen are going to surprise a lot of people this year.
So mine goes Celtic first, Hearts second, Aberdeen third, the Huns in fourth, St Mirren in fifth, Motherwell in sixth. Then Dundee in seventh, Killie eighth, Hibs ninth. They're going to sack another manager. Dundee United in 10th, Ross County, and then St Johnstone get relegated. Bit all over the place. So we'll see how that all plays out. Let's see what some of the comments have got here. McLaughlin is saying Celtic, Rangers, Aberdeen, Killie, Hearts, Dundee. Andrew saying Celtic, Hearts, Aberdeen, Killie, Sevco, St Mirren. Dundee United for relegation. Smell the Glove is saying Celtic, Hearts, Huns, Aberdeen, Killie, Dundee. And then the bottom six for Smell the Glove is Hibs, St Mirren, Motherwell, Dundee, St Johnstone, Ross County. It'll be interesting to come back and have a look at this towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the game coming up on Sunday. Flag Day against Killie. Willie, have they announced who is going to be unveiling the flag?
I haven't seen it. I've seen some people asking that question on Twitter this week, but I've never seen any real concrete answers on it. So I'm a bit in the dark on it. It might be a mystery up until the day.
I have an idea. I have no idea. I'm completely in the dark making this up, everyone. Joe Hart up the road for it.
That would be good, actually. Yeah. They usually go for a veteran of some sort, don't they? Like somebody historically linked to the club.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do before you go on to it, Jared, who do you think is going to unfurl the flag?
I like the Joe Hart call. I mean, it's the flag that he earned and retired on. He's the only player that's really not there, so why not bring him up for the game? He might already be there because it's a celebration of last season. So why not have him?
Yep.
They should get Michael Beale to do it, and then have like Borat on the big screen. As soon as the flag opens up, you will never get this. You will never get this. La, la, la.
Get Lenny to do it.
Allegedly. Wait, I'm just going over to the toilet. I'll be back in a second.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring up some of the comments here. Robert Gibson saying, get Peter Lawwell to do it. Smell the Glove saying the same thing. Andrew Gillette saying, let Ralston do it. McLaughlin's saying, Frank McGarvey's family, I say, makes sense. Smell the Glove, love Big Joe, but how many long goodbyes?
Yeah.
We've had about 17 long goodbyes for Mikkel Lustig. So, you know, if we can give him 17 of the bloody things, we can give Joe Hart one more.
What about James McCarthy? Like, make him earn some of that money that he's been getting.
Does he exist? Apparently,
he'll probably carry it out. Yeah.
Apparently, the talk is that he's cleared his locker out at Lennoxtown. He's on the way gone. So I don't even know if he's still in the building. Could be an interesting one. So will there be any reaction from the fans at Paradise on Flag Day due to the lack of signings? Like normally there's some sort of rumbling. I'm hoping that if there's a pre-game TIFO, it doesn't address anything like that. It's about like backing the players and supporting and doing everything we did last season. So I hope there isn't much, but wouldn't put it past certain elements of our support. What are your thoughts, Jared?
What's the point? Like, it's Flag Day. It's about a celebration. It's about celebrating last year. Like, why would you do it? Like, if you're going to do it, like, wait for a couple more games. But I still don't get the point. Do you think that you're going to go and change someone's mind because you made a big poster. No, like whatever's happening in the background is going to be happening. They're going to be doing what they're doing. If you're not happy with it after the end of the window, then have a little hissy fit and make your big posters and have a cry. Do whatever it is you want to do. But at now, like on Flag Day, it's not appropriate. Like, let's just go have fun, celebrate, win, and get off to a good start and celebrate last time.
Boo. Had to. You love it. Willie, what are you thinking?
I don't think there'll be any. I wouldn't think there would be anything. I mean, we're all frustrated at the lack of signings, but obviously there's still moves and there's games of chess between clubs happening behind the scenes right now. So until the transfer window is actually closed and we see, are we stronger than we were when the transfer window opened or not, then I don't think it'd be fair to turn around and say you're not doing your job. I mean, they could turn around on the final day of the transfer window and pull off the transfer coup of the century, but highly unlikely. But you never know, you know what I mean? And it could all be for nothing. So I think they'll keep their powder dry on that one to see if something does actually materialise or not.
Yeah, honestly, I think that we won't see anything on Flag Day, and I hope we don't. But towards the end of the window, if nothing major's happened, then I can see something being done. B makes a good point early on in the pod. I've been sitting on this one for this exact topic. So in 97, we had only signed Darren Jackson by this time. Then we brought in Larson by August. So, yeah, we'll be fine. Heaps of time. Nothing to see here. So, yeah, that's why I named the episode Same, but different, because, you know, it is a lot of the same stuff at the moment, but it is going to be a bit different. The starting lineup, boys, for the game. I'll let you put the lineup together, Jared.
All right. Up front, we'll say the injuries aren't actually injuries from preseason, and they were just precautionary. And I'll put the starting front as Maida, Kyogo, and Kun. Midfield, best midfield in Scotland, Rio, McGregor, O'Reilly. Then we've got Greg Taylor, Scales, CCV, and AJ with Schmeichel in goals. Anything
different you'd do, Willie?
I think Ralston will start. I don't think AJ will be quite there yet after his Copa America efforts. He was named in the player of the tournament at right back, so kudos to him for that. So I think he'll carry on with a little bit of a sabbatical. And Ralston will start.
I love his tweet about that post too. I don't know if you all saw it. It was like, I don't speak Spanish, but I would need to, because everyone is in it. Yeah, for me, I'd do the same lineup. I think it's going to be one or two questions here, and you've touched on it. It's going to be Scales starting, and CCV, so that's fine. But it's who starts at right back, like Willie said. I could see it going either way there. And the other thing is who starts in the right wing. Is it going to be Kun if he's fit, or is it going to be Forrest? They're the two questions for me. But yeah, if everyone's fit, that's what you said, Jared. If those two aren't fit, then it will be Forrest and the Bricky on the right side.
We'll and like when someone said Forrest should be starting, because if he's better, I also look at it as this is the start of the season. We've got league, we've got cup, we've got Champions League. I think we need to do what we've done with Forrest last year and just very limit him in the start of the season so we can use him when we need.
I think Forrest knows that too.
We've got to be clever with it. And what we'll do is at the start of the season, while it's a bit warmer, we know Palmer's good. When it gets a bit colder and he goes into his hibernation again, then that's where Forrest needs to be ready to hit the ground running and then launch in the second half. I'm going to claim that's a real thing until he proves me wrong. He doesn't like the cold weather. So score predictions, boys. I'll go first. We're going to win it 5-1. Goals to Kyogo hat-trick, Matt O'Reilly with a goal, and Carter Vickers will score a header. Willie, what are your score predictions?
I'm going 4-0. I think the front three will all get a goal each. and probably one from O'Reilly.
And Jared?
Yeah, I was going to go 4-0 as well. I think Kyogo, O'Reilly, Kun will score, and a surprise 4th, and I think Kun will get 3 assists.
Andrew's saying 4-0. Smell the Glove saying 3-1. And McLaughlin saying 5-0. Kyogo hat trick with O'Reilly and Forrest. Almost the same, mate. Almost the same. So thanks everyone for tuning in. It's great to have you back on the Thursday sesh. We'll be back with this one again, obviously next Thursday. But until then, we're just going to get our final thoughts, and then we'll leave you to it to enjoy the rest of your day. So, Willie, you got a final thought?
Final thought for me is happy birthday to my oldest daughter who turned 11 today. She's proudly wearing her Celtic top earlier on, so job well done.
Happy birthday, and that's fathering done right, Willie.
Uh,
Jared, you got a final thought?
My final thought is, it's been so long since we've done this, I forgot we done final thoughts. But I took tomorrow off work to do my taxes, and I'll probably go see Deadpool. So hopefully that's good.
Ripper. My final thought is for you, Liam, responding to your final thought from Monday. I hope it's a human dick and not a dog dick. If you're not sure, go check out the Monday pod.
it's a red rocket.
We'll see you next time. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.